teased her last week, and now we're diving in. Welcome to Superhuman Customs. I'm Stephen Human, and we've got Catwoman. Remember, about a month ago, I was at a local toy event. I got 4 figures from the Batman movie for $10, so they were $2.50 a piece. And we're gonna turn her into a classic Catwoman. I'm gonna go with the 1990s Catwoman. So she's gonna be purple. We're gonna experiment. We're gonna put a mask on her, give her some hair. We're just gonna play around and see what we can do to make her that really classic what's his name? Jim Ballant, the Jim Ballant Catwoman from the 90s. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. Let's dive right in. So I got the little like cat hat off of her, and she's got kind of a cone head. But I had this leftover head from when I did Supergirl. I took her hair, and I think that this head is gonna be much better for the Catwoman because I'm gonna have to add a lot of milliput, so having it be slightly smaller I think is gonna look better. So I'll save this for another day, and I think this is gonna be our Catwoman head. Now that we have her head in place, we're gonna take some milliput, and we're gonna start placing it in order to get the mask and the hair in place. And this is gonna take a little bit of time because we're gonna have to thin some things out, do some really thin ones here to go over the mask. So I'm just gonna have to experiment and see what we end up with here. And hopefully it looks the way that we want, and then we can add the hair and stuff. So I'm gonna do a lot of this off camera because it's just gonna take time, and it's gonna take some experimentation with the shape and stuff, but I'm confident we're gonna get what we need. Now I've had to roll these out really thin in order to go across her nose. And even then I'm not sure if I can get it thin enough. So I'm just gonna keep rolling and hopefully have these turn out super duper thin. And that should match her face, because if it's too thick, it's gonna look weird. Doing a mixture of rolling it in with my hand and using a paintbrush, just the butt end of a paintbrush, to kind of mold things into place. And it's a slow process. Whoops, and it's coming off of my fingers sometimes. This is why I don't want to do this on camera, and yet here I am doing it on camera, because I need to be able to concentrate. So I'm just trying to get them like so, and then get them in place, and hopefully it will continue to go fairly smoothly. So now I've got it in place, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap. You've seen me do this before with other figures we use milliput on, and this tapping slowly heats it up and makes it so that it's smooth and gets rid of the lines and fingerprints and stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do with her, is just keep tapping, smooth it out, and hopefully it'll end up looking as good as that Red Robin figure that we did. That is my gold star when it comes to using milliput. So I'm just gonna do that, and then I'll try and widen the eyes a little bit. Remember, I want this to look like a Jim Ballant version of Catwoman from the 90s, early 90s, where she had the purple suit. That's kind of more of what I'm going for. So let's see if we can make some magic here. I've never done hair with milliput before, but I'm doing it this time because I had to glue the head on, because obviously it's not a McFarlane head. So I can do some interesting things with the hair. So I'm just kind of laying in strips and going into the back, and then just kind of, you know, twisting them and putting in different strands. So we'll play around and do some cool stuff, and hopefully this Catwoman will really look tight once we're done with some good hair and a nice mask. Now that she's dry, let's go ahead and do a black coat so that everything starts to match, and then we'll go through with our purple. And this is great because I can just kind of go over everything, the hair, the mask. So the paint on her head is a little bit splotchy. So I'm just taking a little very, very soft sandpaper, and I'm just kind of going over it just to smooth it out. And it shouldn't take more than a few strikes, but it'll make her look better.
This is one of the things that I've just learned over the last few months is normally my paint doesn't get splotchy. I'm able to put on a light enough coat, but sometimes with skin tones and stuff, it's gotten splotchy. And so I appreciate being able to learn from all of you some little tricks. And this is a good one because now it's smoothing her out and she's gonna be ready for the purple paint. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this metallic purple that I just got from the craft store when I did my Lex Luthor last year, and we are going to purple her up. This will give her a nice shine to it. And, you know, obviously if you wanted to do a matte, it doesn't have to be metallic. It's just I already have this paint and I like how it turns out, and so I don't care that she'll be slightly metallic. I think it's gonna look really cool on the shelf. And since I'm turning her into a Jim Ballant version, I'm gonna make sure that I only go down her arms to about there so that she can have the black gloves that she's got. And the same thing with the boots. I don't think that I'm gonna have it go all the way up to the thigh. I'm just gonna go them down here. So it's not gonna be a perfect representation, but for me, this is gonna look awesome. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm just gonna go through and paint this, get her going, and then we'll move to the face or to the mask where I'm gonna have to be a little bit more, I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more attention, use a smaller brush in order to pull this off. She's looking good though. And if you're hearing all the children laughing and such behind me, that is because it's one of my daughter's 9th birthday and she's having a big party out there. And so it's quite loud. So yeah, oftentimes in these videos you will hear my children. And today it's much more pronounced because I think there's 14 9-year-old girls out there right now. So we're just going to stay in the office and paint. And now we're gonna move on to the mask and the neck and stuff around the hair, just using a thinner brush. And if you get any slop or anything on the hair, don't worry about it because you can just go back through with black and get it on. What you really don't wanna do is touch the face. So you wanna be very careful around the face. But around the hair, not so much. You're okay to get a little bit on there because you can repaint it. Now obviously, if you don't have to repaint it, then that's better. So be careful. But you can see this can go pretty quick. Put a nice smooth coat, not too much paint. And if you need to do a second coat, which I'm going to do on the body, just so I can give it a really bright purple. But for now, just go through, move it around, get it to look nice. All right, the party has apparently moved into my office. And so I'm kind of squished over here a little bit as I paint. As my sons are playing Broforce. I don't know if you guys have ever played that game before. It's a side scroller that's incredibly violent and hilarious. And so they're playing it right now behind me. So I'm just kind of trying to get her finished up. And I'm adding some belt buckles and some details. But she's looking pretty good, just in general, as you can see. So I'm gonna clear coat her, I think, fix her hair a little bit, and then I think we'll be done. This is pretty simple once you get into it. Now I've got this like grappling hook from another Batman. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the grapple off and we're gonna turn this into a whip for Catwoman. Just that quick. Here we go. This was a really fun one, being able to experiment with the mask and the colors and having, you know, a little bit more of a classic Catwoman from when I was a teenager. This turned out really great. Now, a couple things that I would do, I don't know if I'd do them differently, but things you can kind of tell is that one of the mask holes is a little tiny bit bigger. And when you're working with the Milliput, it's kind of hard sometimes to see exactly how different they're going to be. They look pretty close together. But all in all, for doing this by hand, this turned out great. Thank all of you so much for watching. It's fun to be able to do this and to create these characters and to just take parts and pieces that, you know, that you would never get used otherwise. They're just gonna sit in a drawer and turn them into something that's gonna look great on the shelf with the other Batman. You know, the sheen to her, the metallic or the leather look, I think is gonna look great when she's up there with the other Batman, or with the Batman, because she's Catwoman. But this is gonna be awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your comments. And check out StephenHuman.com for all of my novels and Quimbleys.com for all of your board game needs. And I'll see you guys next week.